We headed over here to. I'm currently in Mississippi right now, but I'm headed over here to Texas. So I got a step deck on here right now because I pull different stuff. Sometimes I may pull some step deck. Sometimes I may pull some covered wagon. Or sometimes I may pull a van, just depending on the commodity that I'm hauling. And so I haul a few different things, but I will tell you one thing. In this trucking game, you better make sure that you're not listening to everybody. Okay? Don't listen to everybody. Because some people would destroy you and destroy your hopes and dreams before you even start. Some people would destroy you, destroy your hopes and dreams before you even start going down the road that you want to go down to even step into your journey or whatever it is that you're trying to do in transportation and trucking or whatever. And I'm going to give you an example of that right now, because some of the people that I have dealt with in the past thought they knew everything when it comes to freight, when it comes to the industry, when it comes to certain accounts and stuff like that. They kind of find out they didn't know nothing. Or the stuff that they told me was just complete bogus. They had got secondhand information from somebody else. It's just lies. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes, man, you gotta step out, put your toe in the water yourself to see, man, let me see how this gonna feel. Let me see how this gonna go for me. Because one thing about you versus everybody else is you don't have the same work ethic as somebody else. You may not have that good of a work ethic. And then some people may have a better work ethic than you do. Some people got different motives and different things that they're trying to accomplish. You know, some people got a different drive. You know, some people got a different why. You know, like I know people right now that, you know, they can sacrifice and stay out on the road for months at a time because they don't have a wife, a spouse, kids, nothing like that. Then I know other people who got 2 or 3 kids, you know what I'm saying, they gotta make stuff happen. I got other people that got 2 or 3. I know other people that got 2 or 3 kids, and their wife don't work, or their wife may work, or whatever. You know, and you know they got to do what works for their house. But then some people got more than that. Yeah, I know some people got 6 kids, all the way up to 10 kids. You know, and they do what they got to do for their house and for their business or whatever. So always make sure that you know, go get a second opinion, like you would if you was at the doctor. You know, if you went to the doctor or whatever, you want to make sure you go get a second opinion and don't be listening to everybody else. You know, and that's what happened to me when I was at Landstar. I was at Landstar, and when I was there, a lot of people used to say, "Man, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't do this." Well, kind of find out that they didn't even have the knowledge, the expertise, anything to be able to tell me what I should or shouldn't be doing, because they had never been in it themselves. They just done heard secondhand information, and I'm going off their secondhand information when I should have been thinking to myself, let me see what I should do for me. Okay. When I was over at Landstar, I started in April. And then for the first month or so, you know, I'm going off the load board. I'm trying to figure stuff out. I'm going off the load board. It was pretty easy. You know, you start getting your feet wet. Of course, there's a learning curve when it comes to becoming an owner operator and learning your bottom line, what you got to run stuff for, what you're willing to do, what you won't do for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because there's always a bottom line. There's a absolute no, I'm not gonna do this. There's a price out there that everybody has where they say, you know what, no, I'm not gonna do this. Then there's other prices where you may compromise and stuff, and And you may say, you know what, I'll go ahead and do this because it's going to get me back to the house. You know what I'm saying? At least it'll put some fuel in the tank or whatever. So one of the things that people used to always tell me, I was there that first 2 months, and I was trying to figure out, I was like, man, I need to get me a dedicated account. So was there for like two months and then ran up on a dedicated account. When I ran up on that dedicated account, I was like, oh man, oh yeah, it's over with now. So the whole summer, what I did was go from Atlanta to Cartersville, Georgia. I went back and forth from Atlanta to Cartersville, Georgia, and the loads was paying pretty decent. I love the loads because you can do about how much the load paying? $300. Get up paying $300, and so you go down there, take a load, then go back up, take a load, and then they would pay like $300 for. No, you go down there, take a load, and then you come back empty. Do the same thing. You do that about 4 or 5 times, and then you ain't really burning no fuel because it ain't nothing but like I think like 60 miles from the place that we was at. And so I was over there, and then we was, when you're at a certain location, you got other drivers there. Of course, y'all gonna talk. Y'all gonna, you're gonna learn stuff. Like I learned so much stuff about my truck. I learned so much stuff about relationships. I learned so much stuff from other people. And even when I left that account, I went over to another account and met some people over there. I was always just networking and meeting new people. But I was over there and the Walmart account had came up. And they had popped up, and people was like, man, I think I may do this. I may do that. Well, with doing that, one of the things that people used to always say is, man, I wouldn't do that Walmart account, man, because I heard they only take heavy stuff, man. They be all up in the mountains, man, taking that heavy water and stuff like that, all up in them mountains. And I was like, man, shoot, I ain't finna take that. But something happened. I was there for like a complete year. So I'm at Landstar a year now, okay? So while I'm there at Landstar for the year, at the end of that first year, what I said was, man, I'm gonna try something different, because I had took a load down to Home Depot in Lakeland, Florida. No, not Lakeland, Florida. It was Lake Park, Georgia. I took a load down there, man, and the broker that I got the load from, the agent that I got the load from, had kind of left out some information, and I basically bobtailed from exit 2 all the way up to where I live at, exit 296. So I bobtailed that far just to go home, and I said, man, I'm done with this right here. I ain't messing with this account no more. I ain't messing with these people no more. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna give this other account. I'm gonna give this Walmart account. I'm gonna give it a try. And so that's what I did. I went and I gave that account a try. And I said the first week, I was like, man, shoot, forget this, man. Because when I had picked up a load, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just try this out and see what it's about. So talked to the lady. She was like, hey, you come in either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I said, yeah, I'm gonna come in Tuesday. That way I can work my 5 days and be off on Sunday and Monday. So I'll be good with that right there. So came in on that Tuesday. First load, I get a load up to Atlanta, and I pick up the load. And once I pick up the load, I'm in this dirt lot trying to turn around because somebody had some trailer or something right there. And man, when I turn around, I turn too far, and the pigtail comes out. I'm like, man. So here I am on this account spending money already. I gotta call somebody to come get me a pigtail. And so I done paid for the pigtail, get down there, and get the load. Everything else is running pretty smooth or whatever. Finish the load up and finish the week up. So when I finished the week up, I looked at my check, and it was like I think it was like $2,500. And that's after fuel and everything, okay? It was like $2,500. I said, man, what? Man, forget this. I no, buddy. I ain't finna keep staying over here not for no $2,500. And for some people that may seem like, oh man, $2,500 a week. But you gotta understand that when you own the truck, you gotta pay for everything in the truck. So you gotta be able to live, put money back. You gotta be able to save. You gotta be able to take care of your truck, and plus you gotta pay taxes and stuff as well. So here I am. I'm like, man, forget that. I'm not doing it for no $2,500. So I got over there, and then the guy was like, man, I forgot the exact numbers, but he was like, man, how you do this week? I talked to this older gentleman. He was like, how you do this week? You like it over here? I was like, man, yeah, it's all right, man. I think I'm gonna leave. He was like, no, man, don't do that, man. It's pretty good account over here. I mean, you really ain't doing nothing. You ain't going out too far. You're home every weekend or whatever. So I was like, what? He was like, tell me what you made. And I was like, well, shoot, I made like $2,500. He said, no, you ain't doing something right. And so so he was like, change this up, change that up right there. He said, because last week I ain't even go that far. He said, I made $3,100. He said, in the week after that, I made like, I think it might have been like $3,600. And he said the week after that, he made, week before that, he made like $4,000 or something. I was like, for real? And so he was like, yeah, man. He said, well, tell me how your week went. So I told him, I was like, this, that, the third. Then he was like, okay, what you need to do, you need to change this up right here and change this up right here. So just a little bit of a tweak was able to get me to the point to where I changed some stuff up. Then that next week, I made like, I think I made like 29 or maybe 3,100. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm on track now. So that number just kept going up and going up and going up. And I was like, oh yeah, I could deal with this right here. Now, while I was over there on the Walmart account, let me tell you what happened. I took one of them loads of water to Kentucky. I didn't like that. I was like, man, shoot, I really don't want to take this load of water to Kentucky. But, I only took a load of water. It wasn't that many. It was less than 10 times that I took a load of water. And I was on that account from April all the way to December. So I was on that account from April all the way to December, and I only took water less than 10 times. Okay, so it wasn't to the point. Now, if I would have listened to everybody else, man, I would have been up the creek without a paddle out there still searching on the load board. Because one thing I couldn't stand, even though it was cool, you can find stuff and you build relationships and stuff like that. Man, I couldn't stand being on the load board because it's like, man, once they put the load on there, everybody is like vultures, like boom. You know what I'm saying? So I had to differentiate myself and put myself in another category to be able to take some stuff that everybody else wasn't taking. And so what I did was, that was April, right? So I'm on my second year now. I'm on the Walmart account, right? It's April. So in that June, I had drove out to, I said, man, I'm gonna start doing this Stepdeck stuff because I knew a couple of buddies of mine, man. They said they was over there eating. They was eating doing that Stepdeck. So I said, shoot, man, I'm gonna do this Stepdeck and see what I can get into. And so I said, but I only done did Stepdeck a couple of times, and I done changed some stuff down a couple of times, and it was easy stuff. So I said, well, I got a little bit of experience, so let me go to the securement class. I went to the securement class in June. And once like over there at the time, I don't know if it's still like that or not, but at the time, once you take the securement class, you got 6 months to be able to, you got to pull your first load within 6 months of taking a securement class, or else you got to go back and take it over again. So I was like, well, I ain't going back taking it over again. So I said, let me go ahead and take this. So I took it in June. And so that was a busy weekend too, because I drove out there in the car, in a rental car. Then after I drove out there in a rental car, got over there to the facility or whatever, stayed over there for like 2 days, 2 or 3 days. I think it was 2 days. Yeah, stayed over there for like 2 days. Then after that, it might have been 3 days. I don't know. It's kind of fuzzy right now. So 2 or 3 days, stayed over there for like 2 or 3 days, took the securement class, and I was like, man, this stuff is pretty easy. And so what I did was came back And when I came back, I had to go to New York for a field trip with some young men in the at the school or whatever. And so went to New York and went on that little trip or whatever. After I came back, I was still on the Walmart account. Still on the Walmart account. So I was like, man, you know what? I'm going to keep on rocking this out right here. And I'm going to just start putting some money back. And once I start putting this money back, I'll just go and, start piecing together piece by piece exactly what I want to do, and start piecing together my, chains, binders, tarps, different stuff like that. And so that's what I did. I started piecing together my chains, my binders, my tarps and stuff like that. So I would get a little something right here. I would go and order something from this site, and I would get that, and it was just sitting in my garage under the carport or whatever. So I had my stuff just sitting right there. And then one day, man, I ran up on this dude that had, he was tired. I mean, he was tired, man. He was tired of just dealing with the company that he was with. And so he decided, he said, you know what, man, forget this. They put cameras in the truck. They put the front facing cameras in the truck. And not the front facing, but the driver facing cameras. They put the driver facing cameras in the truck. He didn't like that at all. And so he said, you know what, I'm gonna get my stuff and I'm out of it. I'm done with trucking. I can't deal with all this, all these politics and, the logistics of logistics, different basically. So he's like, hey, I'm out of here. And so he sold me all his stuff for $800. And he lived like an hour from me. Man, I drove down there so quick and got that stuff. He sold that stuff to me for $800. It was so much stuff. It was chains, binders, edge protectors. It was like tarps. I'm like, man, what? Nothing wrong with this stuff. Nothing at all. So I'm like, man, all this equipment. He even had the pipe stakes and stuff like that. Had dunnage. Man, he had all that stuff. So I was just sitting there just holding on to that stuff. Then at the end of October, I was on the Walmart account, and then I started feeling like, man, I think I'm about to make a change. So I started feeling in my spirit. I'm like, man, you know what? I think I'm about to make a change. And so here comes November. We're rolling through all November. Then December, I said, you know what, man? I'm finna make this change. I'm finna go over here to Stepdeck. And once I go over here to Stepdeck, and you want me to tell you what everybody was telling me? Man, this is a bad time to go over to Stepdeck. It's about to be wintertime, and everybody know in the wintertime the Stepdeck ain't popping. But I felt like, I was like, you know what? In my spirit, I feel like the Lord is wanting me to make this change. And so, I had got peace about it, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go, even though everybody's saying, look, don't go over there. You can't make no money over there. I said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and go anyway. And so I prayed about it, and I had peace with it, and I switched over from the Walmart. I left the Walmart account and went to do a Stepdeck. That first load that I did, man, now let me tell you, when I started doing the Stepdeck, it was it was challenging to me because, I'm not used to riding with an open platform. I'm used to having a van in the back. And so I had some pipes that I had to take out to West Texas. And man, I was like, this is crazy. So I took the pipes out to West Texas, and I kept stopping, trying to make sure that stuff ain't going nowhere. And cause the pipes was in like crazy shapes or whatever. And I'm like, this stuff, it was going to the oil field. So I was like, man, I'm taking them pipes out there, and I'm like, man, I stopped by, man, I probably stopped by 5 or 10 times, man, trying to make sure that stuff wasn't going nowhere. And so I get out to West Texas, they take, soon as I wake up, I go to the office. Now let me tell you, that night when I went out there, it was snowing. I was like, how is it snowing in West Texas? But man, that temperature got down so low, and I was like, man. And then so that night it was snowing. That morning I woke up, it was sleeting. I'm like, I didn't know that it'd be sleeting and stuff like this in West Texas. And so I went, did that load, looking for a load back, couldn't really find nothing. So I had to deadhead back to the closest, I think like it was right outside of Dallas or something like that. So deadheaded and then got another load, and then I started looking for other loads that I could do. Like I started looking for loads like easy loads that didn't have to be tarped because I wasn't comfortable with tarping yet. So I just said, you know what, I just need something that I can just chain down. I get comfortable with the chaining, with the strapping and stuff like that right there, then I'll be good. And man, the stuff that I was chaining down and strapping down, I would put so much straps and chains on that thing. Like, if you needed like 4 straps on it, I probably had 8 on there. You know, if you needed like 4 chains on there, I probably put 8 chains on there. I said, man, I want to make sure this stuff ain't going nowhere. So I was over securing this stuff. You know, so went out there, did that, and so then in January I seen where a load had opened up. Now look, I done been out here. I started in December, so in January I had been out there like a month. And the thing was, I'm working less and making more. I may have to wait around a little bit more just to find a load, but I'm working less, but I'm making more. And I'm like, okay, cool. I ain't got to put all these miles on my truck. Plus, I don't have to bump a dock no more because, you know, in the driving, you know, you got to bump a dock or whatever. Then, you know, got to wait for them to unload your shoot. When you pull up to a construction site, or wherever you got to deliver, they say, okay, pull right here. They taking the stuff off your truck immediately. So I'm like, man, this is gravy right here. You know, the only thing I didn't like about it was that tarping, and the tarping was the worst part. But if I would have listened to everybody else, to what everybody else said, man, don't go over there. You know, and so while everybody else crying and complaining, guess what? I had peace about what I was supposed to be doing because the Lord had directed me. He had ordered my steps, directed my steps to be able to go over there, and He sustained me in the process. You know, while everybody else was crying and complaining, talking about, man, we ain't making no money, we ain't got no work. I had work, you know, so I was grateful for that right there. You know, favor ain't fair, but God is good. Hello. So that was good for me because it taught me to quit listening to people. Quit listening to people because even though something may be true to everybody else, it may be false to me because God's hand may be on it for me. And that's the same thing when it comes to the things and the assignment that's on your life as well. Like, everybody else may be saying, hey, look, don't do that. I wouldn't do this if I was you. I wouldn't do that if I was you. Okay, fine. That's you. But that's not me. So if God tells you, hey, look, you need to be over here doing this or you need to be over here doing that, go over there and do that and be obedient to what He's already told you to do so that you can get what he's trying to get to you, you know. And so He said He's going to do exceeding abundantly above all that we can ask or think. And so if we're not thinking, if we're not obeying what He's saying and, you know, going in His direction and operating in His time, and guess what's going to happen? We're going to miss out on the things that He has for us and the thing He wants to do with us. So that's one of the things right there that, man, you really got to just pay attention. Don't be swayed to the left or to the right. Don't be swayed about this economy, because once you give your life to Christ, man, and you start operating on another plane, you start operating in God's economy, and there's no lack, there's no shortage. God knows where the money is at. God knows how to get you the money. God knows where the assignments are at, and God knows where opportunities are at. So, you know, man, that's all for today, man. I ain't gonna wear you out, but yeah, man, this your boy L Boogie with the hoodie. You know I'm blessing the Lord, highly favored, excited about Jesus, excited about the word of God. My cup is running over, and I still want some more. How about you? Holla at your boy when you see me in the street, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and share this out right here because I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel, and I want everybody to see this right here.